Wonderful. You can hear me okay?
Yeah, I can feel it perfect.
Perfect. So let's jump in. I'd love to know what you're currently working on at Humour and what you can share, that's important priorities at the moment.
Of course, first of all, thank you for having me. Huma is the leading on-chain private credit platform. We focus on compliant, innovative, and disruptive credit solutions that are enabled on our platform and built utilizing blockchain technologies and stablecoins. We launched earlier this year, and since we launched, we enabled already some category-leading products and services. Some in remittance and cross-border payments with our credit solution launching on the platform, in green finance with our partner Bezos, helping accelerate the build-up of EV charging stations, USDC-based credit card solutions with our partner Rain, UBI macro lending solutions with our partner Celo and Impact Market, and SMB financing solutions that we have discussed earlier through our partner Gia.
Amazing. And 2024 will be an extension of a lot of these
A lot of
projects.
these, exactly, a lot of these. So we are growing really fast in especially cross-border, payments field. So that's going to be one of our probably, you know, accelerated growth domains. And there's going to be all of these projects growing in 2024 at a much higher pace than they were growing in 2023.
Wonderful. And as a founder, have you found the current market limiting at all, or has it hindered your growth? I mean, you mentioned that it's been a wonderful year from a growth standpoint, but what sort of challenges have you come across this year in relation to the market and, policy, just confusion around policy and lack of clarity?
I think we might be relatively unique in the sense that we have not actually had a lot of challenges. If anything, we have seen a great adoption of everything we have put out there, a lot of demands for our protocol. And in just the 6, 7 months, we have launched this publicly. We surpassed $80 million in origination. And we predict with this growth, we will surpass $1 billion in origination in the next 8 to 10 months. So I cannot say the market has hindered our growth. We have been very focused on building things that are very helpful and useful for our partners, but also generally for the world at large. So that has, I think, contributed to our solutions getting demand from a lot of partners. Another aspect of it was that we focused mainly on the best aspects of blockchain and stablecoin. So we have not really participated in the speculative aspect of the markets. And that also helped us, have clarity on not worrying about what's happening speculatively.
And you have a global sort of footprint, like a global
Exactly.
focus to
Yeah,
humor as well. So that probably helps.
exactly.
Great. Well, what are you seeing and hearing in relation to 2024 and the year ahead? What's kind of the overall vibe and sort of conversation points, within your team and just the broader spaces you're occupying?
Yeah, so I think the overall vibe is a lot more optimistic than 2023 in general. And I share optimism all the time because I'm a very optimistic human being in general. The number one thing that a lot of people are talking about, and we're seeing as well, is the macro normalization of the economies in general. I think the world has gone through some very tough times post-COVID, readjusted, because of inflation. The rates got a huge bump, and that shifted basically the activities and what people were willing to do. And now with the macro normalization, I think we're back to the active ecosystem and active financial market. So that's, I think, the number one thing happening already and will accelerate probably in 2024. Second thing is not thinking about US. Across the globe, there has been a lot of regulatory process and clarity that created this new understanding that regulatory compliant platforms and solutions will be the norm, and KYC, AML, this type of what you might call basic risk barriers from a financial threat and anti-money laundering perspective is going to be a main part of a lot of the large ecosystems and solutions. And those would be a no-no. A few years ago when people heard about it in terms of blockchain and KYC AML, and I think people are accepting that this is going to be the reality, especially for most of the institutional platforms and protocols that are very serious about really changing the whole world, not just this mini ecosystem compared to the traditional ecosystem. So I think that's going to be a norm, and we are seeing a lot more people accepting that, even though I think there was resistance to that earlier on. And stable coins will explode. Similarly, the regulatory clarity provided is going to enable both central bank digital currencies, and that will enable certain large markets to upload themselves to an on-chain economy, and stable coins will just explode. Innovation around them will explode. And one area specifically we are excited about in that is the cross-border aspects. The cross-border payments has been a huge bottleneck, and there's so many technical and policy reasons for that. With more stable coins and with more central bank digital currencies and FX solutions, foreign exchange solutions built in, I think we will see a lot more cross-border payments also happening on chain, and we are seeing large institutions committing to making it happen both on public chains and private chains, and we're quite excited about that.
Yeah, the CBDC conversation is quite a contentious one. What are your personal thoughts on it, just in general as it relates to humour and just in general as well?
In general, we are already going through digitalization of money, right? So we are already going through that, and we're seeing that especially parts of the world that has leaped during COVID are the places where the banking rate is very low. People don't have access to financial solutions, and they have leapfrogged by adopting mobile payments and other solutions that kind of like help digitize the money and fiat and utilization of it. So I think we are already going through that. The central bank digital currency is just a form of digitizing the money that has only been going through this policy foundation, but the policy that are produced by the central banks was not printing money anymore, right? All of that was already happening with them pressing a button and saying this much money needs to be printed digitally, and this quantitative easing term that they were using is basically what digitally printing money is. And central banks are just shifting their solutions to be more compatible with blockchain. So I think from that perspective, I think it's a very exciting era because it brings the actual economy into this new field that's very accessible to the solutions like our platform.
Very interesting. What are your thoughts on the market in general? Are we out of the bear? Are we close to that? Will we see a bull market in 2024 without getting too sort of focused on predictions? Just would love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, this is really hard because I really don't think about markets as bear or bull. Yeah. I think that's mostly a short-term trader mindset and really promotes herd mentality when you think about markets as either bull or bear, because you're just like looking for some external signals and social signals to do something, right? And at any given point in history, there's great potential for innovation and long-term investments. That's what I believe. And if anything, when we look at historically the performance of the most valuable innovations and companies, a lot of them were built, right? A lot of these very valuable companies, very valuable innovations were built what people call bear markets. So there's actually a negative correlation between what people call a bear market and when these super valuable companies and innovations happen. And Microsofts of today, Airbnbs, Slack, WhatsApp, Uber, Square, Instagram, they were all built in that bear market. And if you think about blockchain only, Compound, Uniswap, right, they were built in 2018. That was like one of the worst bear markets, quote unquote. And it tells us, I think, something that if you focus on building great products, if you focus on building them in deep insights to the benefit of the world at large with solid business models and long-term mentality, you really don't need to worry about markets at all. The markets will catch up to you.
Good point. That's very true. Yeah, and especially in this industry, people get the crypto casino is very prominent. So we want to change that stereotype. Wonderful. Well, would also just love to know, do you think we'll see regulatory clarity here in the US in 2024, and what bills or which bills do you hope will pass and sort of move through?
Yeah, I'm much more excited about the clarity coming out everywhere, maybe except the US. So, 2023, we have seen MiCA framework coming out of European Union, starting to roll out successfully. That triggered innovations in UK. That's even going further than MiCA. We're seeing Switzerland, that was one of the first movers, in regulatory frameworks, is adding on top of it, new solutions and distributing new licenses and plug more into that, European system. We're seeing, Singapore MAS distributing more licenses, more companies graduating from that, and more regulatory clarity coming from that program. Hong Kong, they're publishing a lot of opinion pieces. They're making, big moves because they're also competitive with, Singapore, so they want to accelerate themselves to become the, innovation hub for those solutions. Japan, same way. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, right? Like we're seeing so many places around the world are accelerating the clarity because they see something that it should be obvious to US and all other countries. If you're not capturing the financial innovation, you're going to be left out of the global economy in the next decade. So they're all trying to capture and become this new center, at least regionally, for financial innovation, especially on certain domains where they might have advantages, geologically, or from what kind of economies they want to actually bring in to support other economies they have. What happens in the US, I have no clue. And that's, I think, one of the biggest unknowns. And to be honest, because we're much more focused globally, we care a bit less about that. But obviously, being an American and living in the US, I really hope, this crazy political drama gets to an end with some cleanup that was necessary to happen. I think that's great that it happened, and it's great that whoever takes an action that's against law is penalized. And the important thing is, let's just make sure the laws are very clear, so that the innovation can also happen within the right framework.
Absolutely, we need to take the politics out of the policy,
Exactly.
the future policies.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Well, do you have any other comments in relation to sort of the year ahead and anything you'd like to add that might be relevant to this?
Maybe two predictions and two things that I'm excited about outside of the areas that we touch as HUMA. One is just in general global adoption of blockchain technologies and services. We have seen, Nubank, one of the largest neobanks in the world, adopting stablecoins, USDC, for their, payments and solutions. We are seeing Visa, providing more and more capabilities to its partners to build more stablecoin-backed, credit cards and solutions. We're working with some of them, and just we're seeing a lot bigger reach of blockchain-enabled technologies, and we believe 2024, knowing or not knowing, a lot of people will be touching blockchain-enabled solutions as it's being adopted by larger institutions that already has a lot of reach and global reach. So I think that's very exciting. And also, we were talking about AI. I believe it's going to play a very important role. We will depend more and more on AI to accomplish key tasks that we have, and it's not just as human beings. Organizations will also depend more and more on AI to accomplish key tasks. And this will include financial tasks as well, because that's part of what we do as humans and organizations. And I don't think these AIs will be using clunky interfaces that we accept today when we go and try to do something on our phones with the bank, or calling somebody to get some financial transaction happen. They will just go into smart contracts. They will understand what they are good at, and they will be able to transact programmatically. And it will be the new language of finance for, I think, all of the AI agents, assistants, commercial or personal. And I'm quite excited about that, because I think that will really show us the potential of these two emerging technologies can have in what the world can look like, and the growth of productivity and growth of human potential that we will have enabled by those two.
Amazing. It's a great note to end on. Well, thank you so much for your comments. I really appreciate it. I'm going to just stop the recording now.